Welcome to another edition of Rams Up Roundtable. I'm your host, Tom, at Ramsbeat on X, and joined by the whole crew tonight. My co-host on Rams Up podcast, Mark, Ian, and Paul. What's going on, everybody?
Ready to go here.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, let's dive right in here.
Fantastic.
So we wanted to start off with some of these comments by Coach McVay at the coaches meeting, and just kind of Ian, why don't you talk about a couple of things that he hit on?
Yeah, so this past week or so, along with obviously all the rule changes that have been going on, the coaches get together, and there's a lot of media that they do. Our reporters in the LA area meet. Sean does this tour with all the national radios, Sirius, all the other ESPN. We can go down the list. So after speculation by us and by the fan base about Steve Avila going from guard to center, now that we signed Jonah and Coleman has now moved on, McVay confirmed it. He's going to center. It's happening. And Sean said when he told Steve that's the plan, Steve was like, dude, I don't know as much as Coleman. And Sean said, that's all right. You don't have to this moment. We're going to get there. Incremental steps. That's what Sean said. We don't have to go from A to Z this moment. Let's go A, B, C, and so forth and so forth, And McVay's pretty excited about it. He's excited about how Steve learned a lot as a rookie, right? I mean, right in training camp, it was like not even a question that he was the main guy. Because remember that early couple of days of practice, if you guys remember as well, when it was him and Boom were battling for, the tackle spots, the guard spots, who was going to be. And it was immediate like, yeah, Avila's going to play guard. Like, that's already locked up after 2 days of practice. Remember? So with that, McVay's also confident in the athleticism he has for a big dude, right? Great balance, is able to take, his strength, power to not only just handling the D line, but getting to that second level of, defenses, linebackers, safeties, corners, whatever is necessary. And he thinks he's got a natural ability to play on any part of the interior line, but he's really excited about center. And I'm excited about it too, man. Shoot, you got a big son of a gun, a young, good rising player who has a Pro Bowl level talent, I believe so, to be able to, handle things going forward for the Rams for the foreseeable future. So, I mean, good to see Sean fully say, yes, that is the plan. And I'm happy about that. Yeah.
I think we're all thrilled, with this offensive line as it's come together. We've talked about that in the past. So, Paul, what are your thoughts on another one of McVay's comments about how Aaron Donald during the season was kind of taking it all in, like he kind of knew it was going to be his last go round, his last season, and spending more time with the guys, kind of taking it in on the field and so forth. And he kind of noticed it and thought, oh boy, this might be it. So what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, just like the way you brought it up, I had a big question mark over my head. So obviously we knew, if from any coach's perspective, when you realize like your best player is starting to, I don't know, lose interest or think about retirement, brings me back to this past season. I've been very vocal about the way that season was handled. We're still looking for a place kicker, right? So, but why even more reason of why I would bring up the question, why didn't you push the chips to the center of the table then? If you had a feeling it was his last go round, why wouldn't you have gone for it full speed ahead if it was going to be the last season with AD? So I don't know. So I think, that's something I don't think we'll ever get to really understand the answer to. I don't think we'll ever get all the full details of how the year unfolded. It was an odd year to begin with, culminating with, the offseason and AD's official retirement. But, when I first went over that and listened to everything and read everything, now I'm even more, perplexed about what happened and how that season played out. But I know, this also relates to that where the strong words that it's officially AD's not coming back, and it looks more like he's really committed to the off season. But I don't know. I'll throw this out to the Rams Up, to my boys in Rams Up. So if you're totally committed to the retirement, why do you put out a full length video with your wife talking about all the different things about your career and everything else? I don't know. So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
with
I
Marshall
know.
Falk. I'm gonna hold on for last hope.
I hope so. Shoot. Jesus.
One other thing, kind of that was interesting was Tony Pastore's talking about contracts and how players in the league want shorter contracts. They want to, the cap is going up pretty steadily, pretty quickly with these new streaming TV deals and whatnot. And so, I mean, Mark, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, these guys are wanting kind of 2-3 year deals or outs after 2 years and so forth. What are your is that a good thing for the league, a bad thing for the league?
Well, I haven't really given it much thought, and it's the first time I've heard this, but my initial reaction is there have been a lot of cases where I think the Rams have been kind of jumped the gun on longer contracts and renewing.
Oh, heck yeah,
so
Mark.
yeah, so in that regard, maybe it's a good thing. It's going to play in the Rams' favor and other teams as well. Shorter contracts. I'm surprised that players, I guess you're betting on yourself in that case. But I'm okay with that. That's my initial reaction. Is it could thwart Les Snead's, his typical MO of re-upping on some of these guys a little early. And we know who they all are. He's done that several times, and it's kind of backfired.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like these longer contracts are most of the time the guarantees aren't beyond that anyway. So these guys are feeling like if it's not guaranteed, why am I giving the team the option to pay me at this other non-guaranteed rate when it gives all the power to the team. So I think the agents are getting smarter and the players are getting smarter and also just looking at the probably get more money in the short term, more guaranteed, with shorter contracts, more guaranteed money, and because the teams aren't taking the risk of the players being on the hook, so it's kind of probably a win-win. So, but this league is definitely exploding on the revenue side. These cap numbers are going to go through the roof. So
NFL, I mean, if NFL wasn't king already, I mean, guys, they're talking about having a game on Christmas. What is Christmas this year, on a Wednesday or a Tuesday?
It's Wednesday. They're going to have 2 games. They're not talking about it. They're doing it.
You think the NBA is happy about that when they're already on the downward spiral with their numbers and all that? I mean, NFL's taking over, dude.
Yeah, they're getting
hopefully they're smart enough to. Hopefully they're smart enough to pair up teams that are coming off a bye. You can't play Sunday and come back Wednesday. That's just a really bad idea.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do is, I think it is the Monday situation. So I think it's, they're doing something like that. I'm not sure it's going to be buys, but it might be something like that. They said it's similar. I think they're going to use the Monday thing because it's going to be similar to the teams coming off the Sunday and then playing Thursday.
Oh, okay. So they're going to play. It'll be the last games of the prior week, and then they'll have to come back and play Sunday, perhaps.
Yeah, something like that. So, anyway, next topic.
Yeah.
It looks like the edge market is really drying up. Paul, we got Reddick's off the table now. I mean, they've signed all these cornerbacks. It just feels like they're really, really, really gearing up to really hit that edge market hard. And as all those skill position players are pushing those top defensive players down the down the draft board, I just feel like they're really poised to pounce on some guys. So, Paul, you're our resident draft expert. You and Mark, what are your guys' thoughts on who they would take at 19? Who's your favorite? Let's just stick with edge. Who's your favorite edge?
So, I mean, at this point, Jared Verse has to jump to the top of the list, in my opinion. I think he would have to. I know everybody loves our boy from UCLA, right? He's probably one of the more advanced, Latu. But I would have to say Jared Verse jumps to the top of the list, no question about it. Now, whether or not,
and Paul, real quick, and Paul, is this with Dallas Turner still being available, or is this considering that Dallas Turner is probably going to get?
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Dallas Turner definitely, I don't think would be available at 19. That's with that qualifier. Now Dallas Turner is sitting there. Dallas Turner off the edge is fire, right? But but I don't know if he would be there. We've been doing the mocks, and I think the best thing in the Rams' favor is you get these 5 quarterbacks that have inserted themselves now into the early first round. Now, if you think about it, so the Rams really are picking at 14, right? Because they have I shouldn't say that, because now we got the quarterback rumors of the Rams going in on QB.
Oh God!
But there's at least 3 receivers also, right, that are locked?
Yeah, more legit. These Mark and I were looking at some of the, and I and to Ram Nation, relax. The mock draft engines are like fantasy football guys. Really, are put together by fantasy football guys. That's why those receivers are like ranked so high. But there are legitimate 4 or 5 receivers also that could go in the first round. So I mean, I'll be honest with you, the Rams are sitting pretty. I would say if edge. The Rams can really solve one of their scenarios easily in the first round, and they could also do it in the second round. There are a couple of players, versus a possibility. Chop Robinson is. I know people are coming down hard on Chop Robinson, but Chop Robinson is a possibility. Latu is a possibility. The issue is this also, not to get too deep into the draft scenario, but so. If Byron Young is playing on the weak side, you really got to look at strong side linebackers, guys that can hold down the strong side and also rush the passer. Now, when you do that, right, Ian? Now that list gets incredibly short.
I think it's only 3 guys.
Right? So like maybe what do you got? Like maybe Braswell you could throw into the mix. Braswell played on the strong side.
You're right. Alabama. You can play that. I forgot about him. You're right.
So Braswell would be, one of the possibilities. Chop is definitely one of the possibilities. They criticize Chop,
my friend. I don't know, man.
Because of his run defense when they look at the Penn State, Penn State tape. But the guys put together, man. So I don't know. So theoretically, could you put him on that side? Possibly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing also with Latu. Latu played on the strong side, but he didn't have a lot of run responsibility. Gabriel Murphy played on the opposite side. I think Gabriel Murphy, if you flipped him, he could play on the strong side. So there's a lot of different ways the Rams can go in the draft. But without question, the Rams are sitting pretty at 19. They have just the world is their oyster if they sit pat at 19. I also think, though, their best situation is when they move back a little bit. Because there are going to be teams leapfrogging each other for various players, particularly at quarterback. People want to get into that quarterback mix now. So that sort of feeding frenzy to get the last 2 quarterback spots, I think they're going to open up a world of possibilities for the Rams. The Rams, I think, are going to move back. They're going to have, I'll kind of say it right now, they're going to have 5 or 6 picks in the top 100 when it's all said and done.
Wow.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because the end of the first round is not the best place to be because all those contracts are guaranteed. You got that 5th-year option situation. You got all these things going on.
Tom, I will say, if we are at 19, let's just say we happen to stay there, and Latu and Verse are there, and we still decide to move back, I'm going to be a little pissy about it.
Yeah, then you can't.
I think Latu's almost.
I'm going to be pissy. If one of those 2 guys are there and we move back, I'm going to be irritated.
Murphy, Verse, or Latu are going to be there. One of those 3 guys.
Ooh.
I mean, you do the math on the top 18 picks. I'm sorry, there's you got the quarterbacks, the receivers, the offensive linemen are locks, right?
Yeah.
You got the tight end. It's just the math just doesn't work. There's no some of these I think that there's. What is there, like 15 picks that are absolutely locked in right above us?
Yeah. And
then it's just gonna, and then after that,
the offense is going to be a majority of that first round. I think for sure. Yeah.
100%.
Well, not to give away too much of our mock draft segment that Mark and I just did, but we moved back and still walked away with Chris Jenkins and Rook Orororo and 3 other ridiculous players for the defense. We loaded up on the defense.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
I was just going to chime in, and I hate to be the negative Nancy, and I'm really concerned about edge, not that we need an edge. The hit rate on edge in the first round is not good. And that's what concerns me. I know all these guys seem like they're great on paper, and we all envision them stepping in and, coming away with 8, 9, 10 sacks. And history tells us there's a good chance we're really going to be disappointed with an edge rusher taking that early. With that said, it's Verse, Latu, or Murphy in my book as well. So
no Clellan.
And speaking of that, I see a lot of the fan base talking about Chop Robinson, the Penn State edge rusher. Look it. He has an elite get off and a high motor. Great. But for that to be the only thing that stands out on tape, can we stop seeing these mock drafts of us trading up for him or staying at 19? I've seen. If he's there in the second round, I'm cool with that. But a first round pick, we need somebody that we know can play and has great responsibility immediately and can handle a lot of things. A la Verse from Florida State. Laiatu Latu, who I think is the most well-rounded edge defender outside of Turner, who I think probably Raheem Morris in Atlanta is going to take. Let's be real, because we have similar taste, our 2 organizations now. Obviously Murphy for the D tackle. So there's a lot of guys that are going to be around, and obviously we've talked about it. It's rumor BS season, right? I mean, gosh, they have quarterbacks going into all these mocks, all these professionals, right, gentlemen? We got Penix, we have Nix at 19, and it's like, hey, can we just be smart, please, Tony? Sean. Let's go best player available on defense if we do stay at 19. If you want to trade up and get somebody like a Turner, cool. If you want to trade back and maybe Murphy and you go Chop in the second, okay. But for God's sakes, let's just cool it on the quarterbacks. We still got the gunslinger, number 9. Everyone relax.
I think in all of our mock drafts, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, I think is the only quarterback we've taken Jaden Daniels, not Jaden Daniels, the Florida State
Travis.
kid.
Yeah.
Travis in like the
Late
5th or 6th round. Right.
Yeah.
So we're with you, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the trade scenarios, I think, which is which we're going to play out in mock draft 10, Ram Nation, keep an eye out for that, right? The next time Mark and I get together is, I think, Dallas, that the trade back with Dallas. We trade back with Dallas. Dallas jumps over us to get whichever player that they're enamored with. We sit back and then take the player. I think it's at 24, and then get the player that we want. So, and then move back in that scenario, but also then get another pick in the second round. And in that early second round pick, we take a wide receiver. And then actually after that, everything else is defense. So we'll go defense, steal one of the wide receivers in the early second round. Like I'm hoping Coleman or Leggett, from what we've been seeing, fall down into round 2, sneak down to
Coleman,
round 2.
Please.
Listen, if Casey and the Sunshine Band roll into our lap, then you got to take him in round 2, because in the red zone, he's just going to light it up. Same thing with the X Factor, X-Man, right? So those 2 in the second round, and after that, it's all defense too. So it's defense early, wide receiver early in 2, then stay in the 2, get another defense, and then obviously we roll through the rest of our draft. That is the best scenario that I have done for the Rams. It works consistently. It always comes out that the Rams just crush it. Their draft comes out exponentially better. The other draft back scenario is trading back with Tampa. Those are the 2 teams that it comes up, and the Rams don't have to move up because now with the 5 quarterback situation. So like I said, the only thing that I see is either staying in 19 and getting the dream pick, moving back just a couple of spots to get another pick, early in round 2, or mid round 2, walk away with a wide receiver that you normally would not have taken in round 2 because now you have the luxury of that early pick, right? The Rams have to be able to go forward wide receiver this year. So they still, and for a lot of people, I just responded to somebody, and thank you, Ram Nation, for the comments about the wide receiver scenario. Why wide receiver for the Rams makes sense? Look at their wide receiver room. Even with the Tyler Johnson signing, you want to be able to go 4 wide, and you also are building into that wide receiver room a little bit of insurance for next year as well. So the Rams at some point will probably go for a dynamic receiver.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening. Wait, gentlemen, real quick.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You're going to say the exact same thing.
Cup, Puka, Demarcus Robinson, right? Top 3, pretty right. And right now, what do we got on the bench? Tutu, Skoranek.
In a contract year.
Yeah.
In a contract year.
Yeah, and then
Tyler Johnson contract year, Demarcus Robinson contract year. Like Puka's the only for sure for the future, right? If Cup has another injury season, we've talked about it. I mean, they'll cut bait. Our team front office are a bunch of savages. They do not care. So receiver is going to go high, 2nd round, 3rd round, probably.
Okay, 2nd round receiver.
I think so.
How do we feel about Tutu still being on the team and Creed Humphrey getting another All-Pro nomination and collecting another Super Bowl ring? Just want to throw that out there.
Hey, we have Steve Avila. We have he's better than
just waiting on my Tutu jersey as I say that.
Hey, the ring and the banner is hanging, so everything worked out okay. Actually, thankfully, I mean, we've missed.
Never go wide receiver over the trench player. Never.
Yeah. So
we did it with Van. That didn't work out. Tutu. I mean,
always comes back to haunt you.
We're talking about our draft picks. In none of the last 10 minutes when we're talking about the draft, did anyone mention the Rams drafting a quarterback with their first pick? Yet a lot of media has Penix penciled into the Rams. Oh, they got to replace Stafford, get their quarterback of the future. This will be their best chance, and they're going to be good for the next several years. Not going to have a high draft pick. This is the most stacked, quarterback draft class, and probably for the next 10 years. So the Rams are going to. I mean, is it even a possibility, Mark? Do the Rams think about it if Penix is still there at 19?
I would certainly hope not. I just don't see that happening. I mean, they got Stafford, Jimmy G, Stetson Bennett potentially in camp. They are primed to make a Super Bowl run, and Penix does not help in that regard. Paul and I talked about this the other night. It just doesn't make sense at all. They need to plug a couple remaining holes on this roster, and they will be a serious Super Bowl contender. They have a little work to do, but a rookie quarterback's not part of that equation in my mind.
Yeah, and there's obviously the risk there. He's the first round, you locked him in. I mean, the Rams, I think they like their strategy with quarterbacks. It's at this point, they're like, that Stafford thing worked out pretty good. We'll go dump a couple of first round picks for a top 7 quarterback that somebody's willing to unload. And, I don't know who we throw in next time. Last time it was Goff. I guess this time it'll be Stetson or somebody. So we'll see. Anyway, okay. Yeah, I think I agree. We can mark that off the list. I'd be highly disappointed if that were the case. The only thing I can think, though, is if they did it, if they do it, okay, you guys, then just sit tight, because they're going to be trading him to somebody else for more picks. They could take him for some trade bait, because that guy would be worth a lot to a lot of
and look, I like Penix. I think he's the 3rd best quarterback. I mean, I don't know where you guys see him in the realm.
His workout was phenomenal. His workout was phenomenal.
Yeah. I think
is phenomenal.
I think he's the 3rd best. I think it's him. I think him. Caleb Williams, SC. I think he's number 1, clearly. I think number 2 is Jaden Daniels, who I think is really damn good. And if Washington
totally underrated.
If Washington passes him up for a McCarthy or a Drake May, they're just stupid, straight up. But, stupid teams do stupid things. Duh. Right? And truthfully, I don't want this to happen. But if he gets past Seattle, Michael Penix, I'll be shocked. Sincerely.
Yeah.
That is a marketing dream, is it not, Ian? That is a
I
marketing dream for
I
Seattle.
don't know how. Look at Gino. He's not going to be their guy next season. Come on, man. A new coach, a defensive regime. Gino's not going to make enough plays, I don't feel, for him to be like, hey, let's keep this partnership going as, us coach and quarterback combo, right? That's not happening. Let's just be real about that situation. I'm not even trying to be a Seattle hater. Just be objective about it. Penix, Washington, national championship level quarterback, freaking clearly his tape is better than all the other quarterbacks that are up in the air. May, McCarthy, Bo Nix. I mean, if it gets past that, I mean, he made us interview terribly. So I'll be shocked if it gets past the Seahawks when their first round pick arrives. And we draft him, I'm going to be pretty irritated. Well, I'd be like, hey, we have a talented guy. But it's like, it will be exactly like the scenario of Rodgers and Jordan Love, where it was like, hey, we have a pretty good team. Why are we not using that resource, like to your point, Mark, to try to win a damn championship? So that'll be irritating. That means the Stafford window is in a 2-year max, right? Like in 2 years, it'll be over. That's what that would mean too, by the way. And
we'll see.
And Ian, that was exactly my point when we had discussed it on our mock draft, that for that to work, you have two scenarios. One is that you're going all in and you're going to roll with your rookie quarterback, take advantage of the full span of that rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
The only option B is that you say, okay, we're all in it for this year to take full advantage of this rookie contract. The kid has to play next year. Otherwise, you only got like a 2-year window for this quarterback that you drafted. Holding the clipboard for 2 years is not a bad thing at all, but I don't think that's a luxury a lot of NFL teams take advantage of. So the only one is that he holds the clipboard for a year, learns, gets to watch the best do his thing, which is staff. My whole thing is, and you could put those quarterback, mock, I like to call it quarterback mockery, to rest. Is that did you watch the Gunslinger play last year? Did you watch Optimus 9 play last year?
Yeah.
That dude's not done. That dude is not done. You have three. Well, take a look about contract viability, but I think you got 3 shots with Matthew still. I think Optimus 9 has 3 good years left in the tank. I'm talking like good years, like throwing up ridiculous numbers, ridiculous quarterback rating, able to sustain and absorb a lot of the abuse he's going to have to take. I think you got 3 legitimate shots at it with it. And the Rams, that's the way they got to look at it. We got 3 years to maximize and walk away with that 3 years with at least one more golden ring. And that's the way they really have to approach it that way.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, okay. I want to go on the record here. I want everybody to go on the record here right now on your top in order, your how you're rating these quarterbacks. Let's go 6 or 7. We'll go 7. We'll go. We got Williams, May. We got Daniels, we got McCarthy, we got Penix, and we got we'll go Bo Nix, and let's throw in Spencer Rattler. Okay, so we got 7 guys. Go ahead. Who you Mark?
You're gonna do that to Rattler? You're gonna do that to Rattler?
Yeah, I want to do it to Rattler. I threw him in because I got him above one or two of these other guys. So Mark, you got an order?
Well, I'm probably the least qualified here for this. I'm going to steal everyone's thunder. You guys have all biased me, but it would be Caleb Williams would be number 1. I'm tempted to slip him behind Jaden Daniels, but that's just people are just trying to outsmart the room when they do that. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. I was going to say Drake May and then Penix, but I don't want to make Ian angry. So I'll flip those. And then, JJ McCarthy, I don't know, man. I'd put Bo Nix ahead of JJ McCarthy. And I don't, have a lot of data or observations to throw behind that. It's something about JJ McCarthy just sets me wrong. And I can't quite put my finger on it. Spencer Rattler would be at the bottom. I haven't really watched Drake May. I know that he's a real sturdy, physical quarterback, I think, a guy that can really hold up. The thing that worries me about Penix is two things, and this is probably being unfair to him. One, is he 26 years old?
Is he that old?
I think he is.
No, he can't be that old.
He's older. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Everybody,
26, though.
everybody can fact check me right now. And the other thing is, as I loved him, but man, that game against Michigan, he just kind of folded a little bit in that game.
He's 23. Oh, I was like, wait
Is
a
he
minute.
23?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where I got
An old
26.
man for a quarterback.
Yeah.
But
He's like
okay.
Brandon Whedon. Remember the Oklahoma State quarterback that was pretty old?
Oh,
That
yeah.
got drafted
Oh,
in the
yeah.
first round by the
Yeah,
Browns.
yeah.
He was,
Well,
I don't
I'll
know how
have-
old he was,
There's
but
been some
I remember he was
there's been
older.
some old ones.
I'll have
Okay.
I'll have him at 29 by the end of the week. But that performance against Michigan was really concerning. But
All right, so let's go, Ian. Give us your rankings.
Yes, I
7
said my top 3 already. I said it was Caleb number 1. I had Jaden Daniels number 2. I had Penix at number 3. I did like Bo Nix's film more than JJ McCarthy, so I'm going to put him next at 4. I thought he threw from the pocket really well when he was under pressure, which, right? How do you
Mhm.
throw in the pocket when chaos is arriving to you consistently? That's the world of the NFL, right? Throwing under duress, handling pressure, making throws when you're going to get whacked or get slapped around. And I thought Bo Nix did that a lot, actually, at Oregon. I know the spread offense, yada, 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 but he's got a good arm, and he did that a lot, so I'll put him 4th. I'll put McCarthy behind him because I know McCarthy didn't throw a ton, but there was a lot of big-time throws that he did make when he did have to throw, right? I mean, because Michigan was so good at running the damn football, and it was like, hey, we don't have to throw it all over the yard. We're just going to bury you in the trenches. I respect that style of football a ton. But in those situations, they made McCarthy's, though. Hey, man, first down run didn't work. Second down run didn't work. Okay, 3rd and 12. Can you throw on this big money down when you haven't thrown a ton this whole game? And he was throwing laser beams. So I give him credit for that. So I'll put him there 5th. Who was the other quarterback? It was May, Rattler, and
Yeah,
who else?
McCarthy, Penix, May, Rattler, McCarthy, Daniels.
Yeah, I'll put Drake May after. The thing with him is there's a lot of, wow, look at that throw, just like all the other guys. But there's a lot of times where you're like, ooh, that was a bad miss. Ooh, that was not a good read. I wonder what he was thinking there. And not that the other guys are all perfect, but when guys were open, he's missed. When guys were not open, he's forcing things. Day one, I don't think he would survive, truthfully. And that's why I'll have him behind all the other guys, just based off film. And I know the argument of, oh, he went to North Carolina and they don't have all this stuff. And I get all that. But when his dudes were open, he missed them more times than not. And that's not first round quarterback trade up or go top 10. I mean, look, if somebody's going to do it, we've seen it, guys. Think about the history of this sport in the draft. How many times quarterbacks went over others where this didn't make any sense, and those teams paid for it?
Yep.
I mean, shoot. So someone's probably going to convince themselves. And look, they can make the Josh Allen argument, right? Josh Allen was very raw, and a lot of the same things I'm saying about May would probably, funnel into Josh Allen coming out when he was leaving Wyoming. But that's the gamble you take. So someone's going to take that gamble. They're hoping that it turns into Josh Allen, but who knows? So that's why I'll have him second to last. And then Rattler, same thing, a lot of wow, but also tons of, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. So I'll put him last in that order. So real quick, my long soliloquy: Williams, Daniels, Penix, Bo Nix, McCarthy, May, Rattler. That is my order.
Gotcha. All right, so Paul, what's your top 7?
So I think number 1, definitely the kid from USC, Caleb. I think he's number 1. My guy though is Jaden Daniels. I love that kid. I think Caleb Williams is a star. There's no question about it. I like his mental makeup. I like I know some people are knocking him. I talked about it on our last roundtable about him, being a little bit more self-directed in terms of how he's going to work out, where he's going to work out. I think that's a good thing. That might scare away a couple of teams, but that's okay. I still think he's top of the list. But if I'm a team out there, I'm going after Jaden Daniels. To me, Jaden Daniels, that kid showed me a lot. Kid knows how to throw the ball. He has made all the throws. I was just talking to Mark and Ian about some of the different types of throws. And in the NFL, really, the scouts are really looking at those intermediate throws when you look at your route tree, and those intermediate throws, when you watch them all season long, look at Neighbors and the fact that we're talking about BTJ. It's because Daniels was able to get them the ball, So, and he's also has that dynamic capacity to run with the ball, to extend plays. So everything and he's just a great leader. I just love his personality. I love his pocket presence. I love his sideline presence. So I think Jaden Daniels is the way to go.
He's good.
And having said that, listen, this left-handed howitzer that, Michael Penix Pro Day, man, he shut up a lot of people that said he could not throw and he wasn't healthy. The only knock against that kid, listen, and they are right. He's had a lot of injuries, but the kid also plays all out. He's full tilt. So you put that into the mix. I don't know if that's necessarily a negative. He made at his pro day, he looked phenomenal. It looks like he's been working on his release point, which also was a major criticism in coming into the season. His arm looked much, much better. He had that really nice follow through. He was making all the throws. He was proving that he could repeat those throws over and over again. He has shown what he can do at the University of Washington. Look, he had 3 receivers that he made a lot of money for, right? He made a lot of money, right? We're looking at what people are talking about McMillan in the second round because he got them the ball. So I love the way he competes. So I think he is the number 3. So after that, it becomes a little bit of a toss-up. So I am not sold on May. However, to really do this ranking justice, it's more about if we did the ranking, right? Ian and I have talked about this, is if you rank the players based on who they were drafted by, right? If you did these rankings as who has the best chance of success now after the draft, like what team they wound up on, that would probably be more accurate because we've been talking about it for 2 roundtables that you're going to wind up on a team and they are just going to what? Mm-hmm. They are just going to what? Bucket your career. Yep, they're going to sink your career.
And let me say it right now, whoever goes to the Patriots, they're going to struggle. I'm sorry. Whether that's if Penix goes, which I think he'd be worthy of, the 3rd quarterback taken. If he ends up going there, good luck, bro. Good luck. Right. Who has he got to throw to right now? What is his offensive coach?
So May reminds me of like a lot of those pitching prospects in baseball, right? Kid's got a great arm. You're going to have to cultivate this kid. So if he winds up in the right situation, look, he said all the right things at his interview. He's shown that he can compete. He's got great arm talent. But look, he hasn't really put together that dossier that the other quarterbacks have. So he's doing it on potential alone. The fact that they have him at number 2 or number 3 is just, to me, is a recipe for disaster. Yeah. No way. He has not put together that compilation of success that you can elevate him to that level. I think a lot of these teams are desperate. They see what they need to see. They're like close enough. And then they create this whole, whatever you want to call it, image of what they want, which puts him in a tough position. So McCarthy, listen, the bottom line in college football is what? Production. I think the kid's lost 1 game his entire collegiate career, one time. And like Ian said, he's in a tough system where he doesn't get the volume of throws, and not a lot of quarterbacks can do that. To keep it in the holster and say, all right, now take it out, right, and go throw a strike to Roman Wilson 20 yards downfield, right, on 3rd down. He did it all a lot of times on 3rd down, under the highest level of pressure. So you got to give the kid credit. To me, the one thing that stands out with McCarthy is his mechanics need a lot of work, no question about it, but he's shown that he can compete. He has shown that he can do it within a system that is not pass heavy. Some people could say that as a negative. To me, as a quarterback, If you can do that in a system that is not pass heavy, that is a definite plus, in my opinion, because he's doing it in clutch time. That shows he is efficient at what he's doing. So I would have to move him ahead of May on that reason. Now, finally, Bo Nix. Rattler would be at the end. I love Rattler's competitiveness. I don't know if he has all the physical tools, but I hate to knock a guy like Rattler, because he's the kind of guy that'll be like, okay, you think I can't get it done? Watch what I do now, and beats you in the fourth quarter. That's the kind of kid he is. So he's going to wind up being two types. He's either going to be that quarterback that proves everybody wrong, or he's going to be the best backup quarterback in the league for the next 10 years. Right? That's what he's going to be. He's going to be that clutch backup quarterback that everybody is looking for. So in the mix, I would put McCarthy ahead of May, Rattler behind them. And who did I leave off? Did I leave everybody off?
Oregon, Bo Nix.
Oh, Bo Nix. So I have a thing for Bo Nix only because I love running quarterbacks. I'm biased that way. I'm old school that way. How that translates to the NFL, I will say this. They're saying Bo Nix is a system quarterback. Well, we just talked about that 2 weeks ago, right? The NFL is a quarterback system. So if he's proven that if you put him in a quarterback system, he can be successful, so what the heck are you talking about? That's exactly right. You put him in a system in the NFL, he will be successful. Bo Nix has a lot of the traits. His pro day to me was not super impressive. I mean, he didn't wow me in terms of his throws, this, and that. But in the right system, will he be efficient and proficient quarterback? Yeah, he will be. So if you're a team looking for a guy, you have confidence in your quarterback coach, you have confidence in your receivers, you feel like you have a strong enough base team, and you want a guy to come in, maybe see if you're going to get some early success, Bo Nix is your guy. But he definitely is a quarterback that needs to be in a certain system to be successful. But I think those top three players are in a league by themselves. You can't even compare the top three quarterbacks to the bottom three quarterbacks. It's night and day.
Sorry, you're saying Williams, Daniels, and Penix, and then after that it's McCarthy, May.
I'm going to go McCarthy. I'm going to go McCarthy, Nix, May, Rattler.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm just going to without a lot of commentary. I'm going to go Williams and Daniels, Penix, McCarthy, Nix, May, and Rattler. Yeah. I think May's going to fall. I really do. I went back and looked at some of his stuff. I mean, he had some flashes when he was behind. He really played well when he had to. But that's not the mentality you need. And then people say, "Oh, well, if he can do it, then he can do it all the time." It's not true. It's a mentality.
No.
It's a mentality.
And Tom and gentlemen, do you remember last year this time when everyone thought the season was going to be a disaster? Right? We obviously ended up being fun. Tank for Caleb, tank for May was huge in our fan base. Does everyone remember that? All the Photoshop edits, Rams Twitter was on fire with, oh my God, we're going to be so lucky to get Drake May or Kalo. Either or is going to be great. Guys, please tune in as much as you can to the Rams Up podcast and other Rams affiliates where we watch film and we tell you how it really is, okay?
That's right.
Remember, don't always go with what the big boys on TV are telling you. Watch some game film yourself. Maybe listen to us a little bit too if you'd like a different opinion. But you always got to watch it and see it for yourself, the whole complete package. Because what a U-turn it's been for that guy. And I do feel for him. But the film don't lie. And based on our rankings, that's how it is. Shoot.
Or listen to 2 games of Troy Aikman when he's broadcasting and he talks about great quarterbacks, and he talks about 2 things every time. Accuracy, he always puts accuracy number 1, right? Fun, man. And he said toughness in the pocket, the ability to stay in the pocket, to focus. The NFL is all about multitasking. And why those wide receivers fail is it's one thing to run a straight line and catch the ball. It's another thing to have to do 3 or 4 things. The NFL is about multitasking, and there's no greater position where you have to multitask than a quarterback. And that's what happens. When those skills are in isolation, of course these quarterbacks look great. But the film, like Ian said, the film does not lie. when you have to do it, right, under duress, and you have to process all that information. First of all, that throw, you can't think about that throw. You got to make that throw. It's got to be natural, right?
Yeah.
That slingshot has to be ready to go. So I stick with Aikman because Aikman is the man. If he's saying accuracy and pocket presence is what makes a quarterback, then evaluate every one of these quarterbacks in those two things. And I think the rankings that we all threw out, which were fairly consistent, I think it holds up.
I think I'd add on to that also in this day and age, it's anticipation. And these guys are, because you're throwing guys open, whereas as we all know in college, you're throwing to a guy that's already open. In this NFL, you're throwing guys open. And then this back shoulder stuff in the NFL is so prevalent. It's so prevalent now. And just to be able to see, for quarterbacks to be able to read where the defender is versus his receiver and to play that back shoulder, it's a killer when that cornerback has his back to the quarterback and he's all over the guy, and next thing you know the guy turns and it's behind the cornerback. He's like, well, bro, I just had a blanket over this guy. So and also conversely, that's a big deal for cornerback, for when you're looking at cornerbacks too. How does he play? Can he find the ball when his back's to the quarterback? That's a big deal, and because if you can't, you're going to get exposed in this league very quickly. So anyway, good stuff.
And speaking of that, that's because this has been something I've talked to a lot of our own fan base, and I'm curious to get your guys' opinion. Now we're speaking about corners. There's been a lot of people in the professional mock draft world as well, outside of us taking quarterbacks and edge, that people have us taking Cooper DeJean and pick 19 as well. Now, let me say this. Was another hot topic guy about, hey, a need for the Rams. Oh my God, he's the white boy corner that, he's the second coming of, who was that one Giants guy before he tore his knee? I'm blanking on his name at the moment.
Jason Sehorn?
Yeah, Sehorn. He was a good player, other than, when the knee injury happened. It sucks for him. But I don't think he's a corner in the NFL. I think he's a safety.
Free safety, right?
If we got him to play safety in tandem with Cameron Curl, I like that a ton. But in the corner, I just don't see it. I don't think he's on the level of the Toledo corner, Wiggins, the Clemson corner, even some of the other guys. I'm trying to just remember names right now. Well, as we get closer to the draft, everybody, we will have these all figured out for you, who we should take rounds 1, 2, and 3. But if he was available in the second round and we want him to play traditional up top safety, I'm all for that. I think he could do it. I definitely think he can be a good safety. But in terms of the skill set of playing corner, playing in the slot or the star, I don't think he could do it, or the outside. I just don't think he'll be able to do it. And he could be a kick returner for us, right? He was a good little punt returner. That'd be something added bonus for the kick return game now that's going to be important. So when you're talking about guys and players, that's someone that popped in my head. So I'm sorry.
That's great. I mean, obviously we know where everybody's head's at. We mentioned is edge the focus of the draft, and the rest of the segment, the rest of the show was about the draft, which is great. So we'll end on this. So it turns out that Mark's wife pointed out that Ricky Prohl's son, Blake Prohl, is in the top 24 or something, like the final 24 of American Idol. And so my question to you guys is, if you could, who do you think on the Rams roster, like of the guys that we know, who do you think would kill it at American Idol? Like, who would you want to see up there?
Oh, we know the answer to that.
Just letting it loose. But no, I'm going to let everybody have a choice. I'm going to let everybody have a say. So it's going to, you guys were not prepped for this question. I wanted to drop it on you. And so, Mark, okay, so you seem to have an answer off the top of your head.
Well, I mean, we've all heard Kobe Turner. Didn't he?
The conductor.
Yeah. Well, he sung the national anthem at the Kings game,
and
right?
a couple of other songs.
He's ready.
Yeah, I love his. He's even singing a song when he
for the record, my wife was watching American Idol, and she had no clue about the name Prohl and its importance in the Rams' history. She just happened to point out, "Oh, this guy's a football player," and I connected the dots pretty quickly.
I can imagine. Yeah, how many
Yeah, how many
pros are
people
out
have
there?
that name? Yeah, shoot.
All right, so Ian, anybody else you can think of? I mean, Kobe Turner's the obvious answer because he's a musician. But
Yeah.
who do you who else do you think on the Rams team could sing?
Oh, geez. I mean, gosh, I know Kobe was such the. I mean, it's got. We'll stick with the D line. I've heard Michael Hoyt sing some tunes on some Rams videos for fun, like in the locker room and stuff. Now, I don't remember if it was great or not, but I remember hearing his voice. So that was just the first person I could think of right now. Players always doing a little like end of practice, little fun, stupid videos in the locker room, BSing.
Right.
I think Michael Hoyt was singing some tunes. I think it was like a 2-2's Instagram or something. He was like, "Oh my God, Hoyt, you can sing this and that." So I'll just shout him out. And hey, man, shout out to the multifaceted people out there in the Rams locker room. If you're tuning in, if you can sing, we hope to hear it sometime soon with Kobe. All right, we need a Rams version of how Kelsey was doing all of the old lineman Christmas album every year with Mayatu and him. So hey, Kobe, it's time to get our LA production going soon. Okay,
Paul, who do you think could sing in that Rams locker room?
In that locker, wow. I mean, the conductor was definitely impressive. But I have a feeling, I think I know who's going to be the beast at karaoke in that locker room. And that's Matt Stafford. I have a feeling that Stafford could break out that karaoke list like, whoosh, here we go, boys. But the other thing is, I mean, come on, Ram Nation. We got to get the votes out, and we got to make sure that this kid walks away as the top nominee for what is it? Which one is it? He's on
American Idol.
It's American Idol.
American Idol. So we got to make sure he walks away as the official LA Ram Idol. And by the way, Tampa Bay didn't happen to you once, happened to you twice. Prohl with the catch and Cup with the over boom a basket catch.
Got to remind everybody. Yep.
And we beat them 9-0 in '79, right?
Right before that, yep.
Speaking of the American
play
Dream,
Pittsburgh.
On
a way to play Pittsburgh, yep.
That's right. So my guy's going to be. I'm going to stick with the defensive line. Also, I'm going with Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown, that's right.
I can see that.
I'll bet you Bobby Brown could blow it out. So that's my
belt some tunes.
Yeah, I think we should get our defensive line. I think that'd be a nice little a little quartet or something like that. So I don't know if Aaron Donald could sing, but he's a good actor. He's going to be good. He's going to make some money as the next Rock in the movies. So a lot of talent.
That's what they said. Yeah,
line. A lot of talent on that defensive line. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Great roundtable as always, and look forward to chopping it up next week with all the news and notes and so forth. So until then, thanks very much. Again, I'm Tom at Ramsbeat on X, and we're joined by Mark and Ian and Paul. And take care. Have a great week, Ramley.
All right, out here.
Yes, sir. Ramley, don't forget, subscribe. Tune in to everyone you listen to. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. It helps out the algorithm a ton. And remember, Aaron Donald in your hearts, number one forever. Never forget.
Optimus 9, still number one.